It's that time to thank our sponsors, and we're going to run down this list. We're going to talk about the Fat Boy app, the locally owned mom and pop restaurant locator. Listen, if you're tired of eating from those chain restaurants and you want a mom and pop restaurant, download the Fat Boy app and become a dining diva or a fat boy today. Hey, go to their website at www.fatboyapp.com. Check it out. You get perks for becoming a dining diva or a fat boy. You're traveling this summer and you want somewhere local to eat that's not a chain restaurant, you're going to need this app. This app's going to guide you to where you want to go to that good food. So download them today, available on Android and iOS. That's the Fatboy app. Become a dining diva and fat boy today. Stephen Watson at Watson's Transmission, he is your go-to guy. We got to thank him, man. He's your go-to guy for transmission work. And I'm telling you, if my transmission ever goes out, I'm going to Stephen. I don't know what else to do. I'm going to go to Stephen and be like, hey, Stephen, do your magic, work your magic on this transmission because he can bring them back to life. If he can't fix it, then it's really broken. He's going to get you another one. So check out Stephen Watson at Watson's Transmissions. Ironstein Coffee there in Morganfield, Kentucky. You want some hometown brewed coffee, hometown roasted coffee beans there in Morganfield, Kentucky. My favorite's the Miner. I like that dark roast. I like it dark, good old dark strong coffee is what I like. That's my favorite. So go check out Jerry and his buddy there at Ironstein Coffee in Morganfield. And while you're there, slip on in to Jyns General Store. Check her out. Hey, I went in there today to get a haircut from Jerry, and I walked through Jyns, and they got a little pathway. It's like the Candyland board is what it looks like. And it just kind of took me back. And there's candies, and there's drinks, and there's man, they do milkshakes and sandwiches, and it's so cool. There's so many things in there to check out. A lot of local items. I think there's some local honey in there from a feller there that lives in the county. So there's all kinds of things there at Jyns General Store. Go back in time to when you were a kid, especially us Gen Xers, man. There's all kinds of our candies in there. I love going in there. Every time I go in there, it's you feel welcomed and you're taking a trip back in time. So check out Jyns General Store. Wolf's Customs, that's Jake Wolf in Waverly, has got you covered this summer. You need a radiator flush, you need some coolant, your vehicle trying to overheat because it's going to get hot outside, or your tires are just low, or you need a lift on your truck, you need your brakes changed. Holler at Jake Wolf at Wolf's Customs there in Waverly, Kentucky. Are you looking for a private property, a commercial property? You looking for your first house, your second house, your third house, your neighbor's house? It doesn't matter. You looking for some property to buy? Holler at Josh Parish at BHG Realty. Listen, Josh has got it going on, man. He's a good dude. He's straight up with you, and he can find you the piece of property or the building or the land, whatever it is you're looking for. Josh is the guy to go to. I promise you that. He's going to help you every which way he can. And if he can't get it or doesn't know how to get it, he's going to reach out and he's going to exhaust all his resources for you because he wants to be your realtor. So check out Josh Parrish at BHG Realty for the next time you're looking for that home away from home or you just want to buy your neighbor's home. It's for sale. Why not? Holler at Josh. He's going to take care of you. I promise you that. You're rolling around in Booneville, up there, Boone, Vegas, up there, Booneville, Indiana. You're up there at the McDonald's on top of the hill, and you look over and you see this place is called Warick County Tire. Well, that's the place you need to go if you need tires. You need air in your tires. You need your tires plugged. You need your tires patched. You need tire work. You need brake work. Go see Billy at Warick County Tire. He's going to take care of you like he took care of me. True story. I ordered some tires from him. Hey, dude, I was in and out in no time. Professionally done, fantastic service. And I'm not just saying that because I know Billy and Billy's family. I'm telling you because he takes pride in what he does at Warick County Tire. So go see Billy at Warick County Tire up there in Booneville, Indiana, and Boone, Vegas. Give a new shout out to Hackney Door Company. We'd like to thank them for the apparel we're wearing today. You got the Hackney Door Company hat and shirt on. Shane out there in Crittenden County, out there in Marion, Kentucky at Hackney Door Company. Listen, you need garage doors, you need building doors, you need doors that open and doors that close and doors that don't squeak and doors. You need a door. Holler at Shane Hackney at Hackney Door Company. We're going to put that information up for you too. So give him a call for all your door needs. And we appreciate you, Shane, for sending us the shirt and the hat. And we definitely appreciate your support here on Front Porch America. So I think that's our sponsors. So let's get to the podcast. So the podcast you're about to watch or listen to is a personal podcast. I sit down for the first time face to face with my half sister, Cassie. Met her just the day before we recorded this podcast. And we've been talking on the phone for the past 30 days and we were learning about each other. I kind of knew she existed, but I wasn't for sure if it was true or not. And we're going to explain all of that and how that came about in the podcast. I do want to say that this is our story from our perspective. We're not putting anybody down. We're not belittling anybody. We're just telling you our story from what we were told growing up from our perspective. So if you're listening to this and you are part of this family, you are part of my family, her family, don't take it as a disrespect thing because that's not what it is. It's us telling our truth, what we know, how we heard it. And we are seeking these answers. We're trying to figure these questions out that we have. And we're getting those answers little by little. So this was a lot of fun for me. It's an emotional podcast for both of us. But with that being said, without further ado, let's do it.
Respect, no judgment. Open up, say what you wanna say. Be real, be kind. Free speech, make this a better day. You got a voice, a story to be heard. Share it on the front porch, America.
Welcome to Front Porch America. This is a scheduled / unscheduled podcast interview with this lady here. This lady here drove all the way from Colorado. You guys left out Thursday evening?
Yeah, 5:30.
5:30 Thursday evening. Showed up here 10 o'clock, around 10 o'clock Friday.
Friday morning. Yeah.
Pretty much nonstop, just like fuel and stuff, right? Y'all
Yeah.
didn't just drove all the way. So, and the reason she did that was that she really wanted to be on the podcast. No, I'm just kidding. This is my sister, Cassie, and we'll just go with that for right now.
Yeah.
So this is Friday was the first time we met in person, and I want you to just kind of talk about your life, how what the process that got you here, if you will. And this
Okay.
is new for everybody because a lot of people don't know my story.
Okay.
Like I haven't told my story to anybody yet. So this is going to be like, I guess, a prelude to, or prelude. Your story is going to lead into my story because eventually I'm going to sit down and tell it. So,
Yeah. Okay.
so let's do it.
Okay. So I have an older brother, Josh.
Okay.
And we were adopted together when we were 3 and 4. And that's really where it all started. We were so young, we didn't really know a whole lot. Just that we had a mom and dad that we loved, and that's who was going to take care of us, and that's who our parents were. And so we just kind of went with the flow, obviously, as toddlers, and didn't really think much of it. Got a little bit older, and kids started telling us we didn't look like our mom and dad, and they did, and why we look so different. And I was like, I don't know. My mom just got blonde hair. It's okay.
Maybe she dyes it all the time.
You know? Yeah. She gets perms. Maybe she gets it colored, highlighted. So we started asking questions, and they were very open, very honest. We're happy to tell you what we know. They only knew what they knew. Didn't really get a lot of information, and didn't really put out a lot of information, wanting it to be, a protected thing. And so we learned through what they've told us that our mom's name was Kathy, our dad's name was Richard, our last name was White. I was born named Tabitha. Josh was born named Joshua. They changed our names when they adopted us because everybody called me Cassie anyway. They just made it Cassandra. Kept Josh's name because it was just Cassie and Josh, and that just flowed and worked, and They liked it, so they kept that. And a couple, stories about our biological father and why he couldn't take care of us, and that he was, in jail, and just...
He was something else.
He was
So,
something else.
and that's when I was talking about my story. When
Yeah.
I first met him, I didn't meet him until I was like 36 years old. I think he left or was ran off. However, the story goes, right?
Yeah.
There's two sides in the truth, and I don't
Yeah.
think we're gonna know. Either one of us are gonna
Mhm.
find out the exact truth. It seems to be hard for people to do. And
Yeah.
if this hurts anybody's feelings in our family, I'm sorry, but we're gonna speak the truth. I mean, I don't want to. I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat anything.
Yeah. No.
Uh, but yeah, so we learned through different people now that our biological dad was in and out of prison,
Mhm.
in jail. I think he was even homeless for several years.
Yeah. I do believe
Wasn't
so.
consistent, and a lot of that has to do with addiction. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Just speaking to him, what
Yeah.
he's told me, and honestly, I don't think he would even care that I'm telling the story. I guess he's been sober and clean for a couple 3 years now, is what he's telling us.
Yeah. Tried to turn his
So,
life
so yeah,
around.
so
Yeah.
we'll go back into that. The adoption. You're raised by your parents in Colorado.
Yeah.
You and Josh.
Yeah. And we were told that we had an older brother, Ricky, just one. So when I first learned how to use a computer and use the internet, I started doing my own research, but trying to find people named with the last name White in America, not easy.
Right.
Looked on like inmate searches for Richard White. Didn't know a middle name, didn't know a birthday, didn't know any of that. Couldn't find it anywhere. It was a closed adoption, so all the information was
So everything on
changed.
your birth certificate had been changed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so on my birth certificate, Cheryl and George are my parents, and same with Josh's. Um, so didn't really have a lot of information and wasn't really going to pester my parents either. It was obviously a kind of an uncomfortable thing for them to talk about, and
Yeah.
they were all about our safety and making sure that we were safe and that we weren't going to be hurt in any way, whether it was finding these people and having them hurt us mentally, emotionally. They didn't
Right.
know what they were going to do. So a lot of, well, this is just a story we know. Didn't really poke and prod for too many details. So I searched for a very long time on internet, Google, adopted.com, tried Ancestry a couple times, but again, didn't have much information. Actually got a hold of, there was a TLC show called Long Lost Family.
Yep.
Got a hold of them, told them my story, and they were kind of like, it's going to be a hard one.
Yeah.
We'll reach out to you if we accept your application and accept your story. Never got a call back.
That's funny because I'll break in here and I'll tell you how I located everybody,
Mhm.
or the ones I located before you, because I still had been searching for you and Josh, and
Yeah.
a lady on Facebook, Angela Cordova, like I call her my angel. I seen her just some random post, and they're like everybody's thinking her and whatever. So I just reached out to her. I was like, "Here's what I have, and this is what it is." And 24 hours. Now, mind you, up until this point, I've spent tons of money trying to find these people, right? Trying to
Yeah.
find that side of the family because I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And looking back, I was fortunate that my biological mom kept me and raised me, and my dad that raised me, like I had a pretty decent life. I mean,
Yeah.
we weren't the richest people in the world, but we had a pretty strong family growing up. So 24 hours, she's like, "Hey, I found your cousins." I was like, "There's no way. I've been doing this for years. Like, there's no
Mhm.
way." And she was like, "Honey, this is what I do. This is what I do." And it was
Yeah.
that quick. So
Yeah.
I was a little more fortunate than you, but it kind of just stopped. It was almost like the ones I reached out to didn't want. It's like they're hoarding information still,
Mhm.
and I don't
Yeah.
understand why. Because it's not like we're doing anything malicious. We want to know our family.
Yeah.
Like I grew up with a very large family on my dad's side and on my mom's side, the Perkins. And when I say my dad, I mean the guy that raised me.
Yeah.
And we had a very close family. And of course, if you notice, like after the grandparents die, it kind of starts breaking up in people, and especially when you get older.
Yeah.
But we had a pretty, especially like spent all the time in the world at Uncle Bill Bill's.
Mhm.
You met
Yeah,
him
yeah.
yesterday. At my grandpa's growing up, and it was that thing. And I never even started wondering until, like you said, kids at school were like, "Well, why is your last name White and theirs is McDowell?" I was
Yeah.
like, "I don't know. They just got, maybe they
Mhm.
had me before they got married and didn't realize it for the longest time, and until I was like
Yeah.
maybe 14, 15, 16, something around there. Then I done that whole teenage, "You're not my dad." And he was like,
Mhm.
"Son, I've been your dad for 15,
Yeah.
16 years,
Yeah.
And it took me a little while to understand that. I feel like the parents just kind of protected us from
Mm-hmm.
what they knew or what they were told. So,
Yeah. And I mean, when I found everybody, I've kind of heard through the grapevine and through some people that there was almost like a war out for Josh and I. And whoever found us first was going to keep us and hide
like
us
y'all were
and
going to be the
not say
prize.
anything.
Yeah.
And so to find that out and find that people were like fighting over us, it makes sense that there was no information for you because they were like, well, even if we did find them, we weren't going to tell you nothing.
Right. Yeah.
They're ours. And so, and I've seen that too as I've found people, but, and we had a pretty good childhood too. I have no complaints. I
Yeah.
went on vacations every year, just went to the best schools in Colorado and in Denver in the area we lived in. And I mean, from what I've figured out, very, very blessed.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really ever pulled like the "you're not our parents" thing because
Right.
that's all we knew.
Right.
And we didn't have any
Yeah.
pictures of like, okay, this is your birth mom, this is your birth dad. We didn't have any pictures. We didn't have no baby pictures. The first picture we have of Josh and I, they got professionally taken at like J.C. Penney or something
Oh,
when we
wow.
were 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Or yeah, professionally. And then I mean there's a picture of us like in court getting adopted. Like that's as young as we knew we were. To
Oh, wow.
us actually being like babies at one point, it was kind of like a foreign subject to us because it didn't make sense because we couldn't see it in pictures growing up.
Oh,
So
yeah.
as far as
Never
we
thought
were
about
concerned,
that.
we just like popped into the world at 3 and 4, and these are going to be your parents, and this is going to be your amazing life.
Like y'all just rode in on like some mystical
Yeah.
dragon, and then like here it
Yeah.
is, and you're
That's
like,
that's what Josh
woohoo!
and I
Yeah.
convinced ourselves of, and we were like, well, this is the story we're getting, but that doesn't make sense. We can't comprehend that,
Right.
And so I searched and I searched and I searched, never found nobody. And then I met my husband Phil, and I was talking to him about it, and for years I've been like, I'm gonna do this 23andMe DNA thing, and it was more so just wanting to find out like my nationality and stuff
Right.
like that because I work in assisted living, and I've had a lot of people like they look at me and they're like, "What are you?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "A human being." Like, no, like, are you like Costa Rican? Are you like all these weird different ideas, Irish? I've gotten Scandinavian, and I'm like, I don't know. I joked with people and said I'm Timbuktuan. Like that's
Right.
that's what I
Just
got for
kind of,
you.
yeah. Yeah.
And so I just wanted to know what I was. I want to know if I was Irish or anything like that and see if there was any health that would come up because we didn't have
Yes.
any history of health, and that's usually pretty important to
That was the
people.
biggest reason why initially I always wanted to know, but then I wanted to know what kind of health, issues that
Yeah.
side of the family had, especially being in my job. It's just kind of one of those things
Yeah.
you don't really think about it until you kind of get into that profession
Yeah.
or you have something happen and you're like, and I've had physicians and doctors and nurses be like, hey, what about on your father's side? Well, I've been giving them my dad's information, which is, obviously not right. So
Yeah.
because I didn't know the bio,
Yeah.
had no idea. So I
Yeah.
was just telling them on the McDowell's, like, this is what they've got, knowing that I don't have any of that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
whatever it is. And
Yeah. And my answer was always just, I'm adopted. I'm not sure.
yeah,
Not sure what my family
yeah,
history
that was
is.
pretty easy. Yeah.
And so after a while, you get tired of being a mystery. My parents did a very good job of making us feel like human beings and making us feel like we mattered to somebody. But you're still there's just that missing piece in there, and it might be minute, but it's still there, and just
Yeah.
feeling like a mystery for so long. Where did I come from? Who did I belong to? What's the true story? Why didn't they want us? Were we not good enough for them? Because
Right.
the parents we have now, they love us, they adore us, so we can't be that bad.
Right.
Somebody loves us.
Yeah.
And so I was finally like, that's it. I'm gonna get on Ancestry. I'm gonna do this DNA thing, and I'm gonna see what I find. If I don't find anybody, I love the family I have. I respect the family I have. That is my mom and dad. That is
Right.
my aunts and uncles. Josh is my brother, fortunately biologically, but even if
Right.
he weren't, that's my brother. That's all I know.
Yeah.
And so if I didn't find anybody, that's okay. I'm gonna suck a little bit, but that'll be okay.
Right.
So I took the DNA test and found out I'm kind of boring actually. Just little bit of like mostly English or England, it said, and then a little bit of Denmark and Scotland,
Yeah.
like here and there. Nothing crazy like I thought. And then it said you have a 27% match to Helena White. And I was like, I know that last name.
Right.
And hey, this lady kind of looks like me.
Right.
That's crazy. nah, it can't be. Well, I'll just message her and say, like, hey, this is what it says. Probably wrong, but let's just see what she
Right.
says. She goes, well, do you have a brother? She responded, and I was like, she responded. She said, do you have a brother? And I said, yeah, I've heard that I have an older brother, Rick, and my older brother, Josh. I'm like the youngest of the three of us. And she said, yes, I'm your aunt. And I like collapsed on the floor and I was like, oh my gosh, the search is over. I found somebody. Even if this is all I find, I found somebody. And just slowly but surely, the door started opening. And this is your dad, Richard. Reach out to him. This is your Aunt Sandy. This is your older brother, Ricky.
Yeah, so let's explain that real quick because our biological father, for some reason, had an enormous imagination and
Yeah.
decided to name not one, not two, but three
Yeah.
sons that he had that he helped conceive or however that works. Richard Lee White Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Not Richard Lee White the first, second, third. Richard Lee White Jr. Three of us.
Yeah.
So, and we're still missing one. We're still trying to find the other one.
Yeah. So I only knew about one. Josh and I
just
were only told about
before
one.
we get into this, I'm the original. So all you others are fakes, but let's go. Okay, so you were told about one.
We only knew about one. And then, I call him Little Rick now because then I found you and you're the big one. So I call him Little Rick and I found him and he looks just like Josh and I. I put the three of us in like a collage and I was like, there it is. That's it. Like, wow, I found it. That's it. And when I first made a Facebook, I had looked on Facebook for Ricky Whites, Richard White Juniors. Like, I had looked, and I for all I know, I probably saw his picture once or twice, but I was just like, it doesn't look like me. Skip next. And there were so many of them, and so
I think, to be exact, our cousin Fred told me yesterday.
You say 4,000?
There was 4,683 Rick Whites in the U.S.
Right.
So,
okay.
I mean, that's to be that many in the U.S. I mean, 4,000 is not a lot when there's billions of people in the U.S., but it's a lot.
Yeah,
a lot
to us, if you were to put all 4,000 of us in a room,
right? So,
that's a lot of people to go like ask and.
Hey, are you?
You got that?
No,
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah. So.
And then I actually had seen like your page when I was looking up Little Rick's page. And I was like, he's too country. He lives in Kentucky. Like all the people I know live in like Colorado. He lives all the way in Kentucky. Can't be the same thing.
Right.
And then 2 days later, I get a friend request from you, and I was like, do I know you?
Right. Yeah. So
you were like, yeah, I know. Like Little Rick said that he found you guys, and I'm like,
so
well, how'd you know?
Yes. So how that happened is he messaged me and was like, hey, I got good news, and I never know with him what good news is, and, and I love it. It's funny because it could be the smallest thing or the biggest thing, and this was obviously a big thing. It's like I found her sister. I was like, give me your information, and I think it was a day or two, or maybe he may have done it. I don't know. I felt like he kind of hesitated on it. Either way, he gave me the information. That's when I reached out to you, added you on. I was like, okay, let's see, because you never know. Like, man, these TV shows that ain't picked us up yet, they're missing out.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, they don't even know half of it. But,
and then I think,
and this is going to be like the PG-13 version. Like we can really get into some crazy stuff, like that we're learning.
We could, yeah.
But yeah, so anyway.
And then I sent you a picture of our dad because I had contacted him first. I was like, hey, is this Richard? And do you know who I am? And he didn't know my name had changed, so he said, yes, Tabitha, I know who you are, and kind of like threw me back for a minute, and I was like, all right, you're the dude. You're the one. And so I sent him you a picture that he had sent to me of himself. And you were like, yeah, look at this picture. It's the same guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's how we were like, oh, okay.
So yeah, it was kind of.
So then, I called him because I had found Little Rick and you, and I called him and I gave him a little bit of a hard time, and I was like, "What's this? I'm finding out that you named 2 boys after you," and he said, "Actually, there's 3," and I said, "What?" Just like that, and I said, "Do you know how that sounds?" And he goes, "Yeah. I really wanted to raise one of them, so." So I named one and lost it, or left that relationship. So I had another one, named that one, and lost that relationship, left it, and so I had a third, and I had 3 kids with her, and that's where you and Josh came from. And I couldn't name a girl Ricky, and couldn't name the second one. You couldn't have 2 in the same house. And I was like, you know how that sounds though? And we were just laughing on the phone together about it, and he was like, yeah, but I really wanted to raise one.
I mean,
And
he could have named a girl. I mean, there's plenty of girls. I mean, I know several girls. Well, not several, but probably 2
yeah,
named Ricky. Or
yeah,
I don't think they call him Rick, but Ricky's. Of course, there's the famous Ricky Lake or whatever. But yeah, so
yeah,
I don't know, man. It's just one of those things that happened, and it happened really quick, and it was really surreal because
it was.
I had done told myself that I haven't traveled to meet any of them yet, right? So I was
Mhm.
gonna travel when I first found everybody to go to Colorado to meet everybody, all of them.
Mhm.
And then, and this is a whole different story, and I'll tell this on a different podcast. But I get a phone call, and Richard's on his way, right? And I'm like,
Mm.
okay, well, I'm not going to go up there, And I didn't know if he was bringing anybody or not.
Yeah.
Um, so and that's kind of how that played out. And I told you the story about one of my friends that's a state trooper, and then a deputy
Mhm.
sheriff. And it was a big deal. And I'll tell that story because it's a good story. It's too good not to be told. That's for sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I mean. This is and we started talking.
Yeah, and
Um,
I told little Rick, I said it's the connection that's just basically been hanging in midair, lost for so long, is it's really just there.
yeah, it's weird, and
And I wouldn't think it would be. I thought I was gonna have to like introduce myself, and like, you know, I thought it was gonna be like a 6 month to a year journey of just like trying to get these people to accept who I was, and trying to get these people to learn that I was raised differently by these people, and this is how I was raised, and I hope you like me for that. And that's not how it was at all. The connection and the acceptance was just there on both ends, I
yeah,
believe. I mean, for me, I was ready with open arms, and
yeah, it
it
was
was
and I don't meet a stranger anyway, and that's
yeah.
even though this was, I mean, it was weird, I guess,
Mhm.
just because we have finally kind of closing that chapter, if you will. But it was
Yeah.
just like we started talking, and we FaceTimed or talked over video, and
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
normal.
we
It
did
was it
that.
was
That was
just
the
the
first
weirdest
thing I
thing.
think we did.
Yeah.
You were like, I gotta make sure this is true. Like,
Yeah,
video
yeah,
chat me
because
right
it
now.
was. I mean, it's weird because our family, and we haven't even begun to touch any of that, but
Mm-hmm.
the stories we've heard about different things, and then you find out that's bullcrap, and this is true, and you're just like, well, how can that be true? That's some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think I was told that we have like Native American in us, which is bullcrap because I'm pasty pale albino.
Yeah,
Like,
me too.
I
Yeah.
don't like didn't skipped a generation or whatever.
Yeah.
But to look at some of them, you could tell that they have some of that
Mm-hmm.
somehow, some way. I was told that we were kin to that real famous Chief John Whitecloud, whatever he does. I don't
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, so there's
Yeah.
that. And the craziest thing is we have another sister that lives just right up the road, 40 minutes in Evansville, and I'm not going to mention her name because I haven't asked her about being, on
Mm-hmm.
it. But she lives in Evansville, and this whole time she's been there.
Yeah.
And you would think the closest person would be the easiest one to find. She was the hardest
Right.
because of obviously the lack of information,
Mm-hmm.
and you just I don't
Lack of
know.
knowledge as
Yeah,
well, like that
like
we
that
didn't
have
even.
no idea. Like there's so much stuff that we should know that we don't know. They're still not telling us, right?
Yeah.
For whatever reason. Um,
And I don't even know like where she would fit in the line of kids. Like
yeah.
there's you, and then like I know of you, and then the second
So,
little Rick, and then there's little Rick,
so how
Josh,
old
and
is
I.
Josh?
Josh is 32.
Okay, and then little is 33, 36,
33. I
33.
believe he's 1 year
So
older than Josh.
she
Maybe two.
is
He might be 34.
yeah.
But
So okay, so it was me. He rose to Evansville, meets this girl's mom, and
okay.
she makes him roll out. He leaves, whatever. I don't know the
Yeah.
story. That's when that happened, and then he ends up there with you guys, or throws that other one, and that we
In
haven't
there
found
somewhere.
yet. Like I
Yeah.
don't even know how old that one is, but
Yeah.
whether he's in between y'all or
Yeah. Okay. So
how old.
then
So
Lil Rick is Lil Rick.
yeah,
It's
so
him and then us. And then
yeah,
from what I know, I'm the youngest.
okay, so then it's me, our other sister in Evansville, maybe the other Richard Lee White Jr. that we haven't found yet,
Mm-hmm.
and then Little Rick, Josh,
Josh,
you.
me. Yeah. Okay.
So man, he's
Yeah.
busy, dude.
So
You're
it's
busy, man.
yeah. So
Like,
it's just really been door after door, just
yeah,
opening and just finding all these new people and these new things. And I mean, even the connection with the aunt that I originally matched with,
yeah,
like it was just there. We just started talking about, and it's just how are you
yeah,
every day? It's how are you, and like
yeah.
we've
And
never been apart. It's crazy.
and that's what like it was with us. Like
Mhm.
it's and I'm not saying anything bad about Little Rick or any of them, but it's different with for some reason I don't know. Maybe they're busier or just kind of more off putting by the whole situation. I don't know how it is. I don't know how to explain it
Yeah.
because
I
it's tough
mean.
to explain because I've had the same phone number for I don't know how for years, right? So it's not like my number changes and you lose
Mhm.
connection. My Facebook is the same, and you can contact me, and so I'm really bad about this, and I apologize. But
Mhm.
when people stop reaching out to me, I stop reaching out to them. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I mean, we
And
can only try so hard.
right, wrong, or indifferent, I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe people are like, well, you got to put the effort in too. But when you're putting the effort in, and you're getting nothing in return, you just kind of like, yeah, or it's the definition of insanity. You keep doing the
Mhm.
same thing over and over, and um, so right, wrong, or indifferent. I haven't talked to our cousin, the aunt that live up there where Little Rick lives. Little Rick's pretty well in contact with me.
Mhm.
It's short but sweet, but
Yeah.
and it's always nice. And like some days it's just, hey, bro, what's up?
Yeah.
And that's just knowing that he's thinking about what we're doing or whatever. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have every intention in going and meeting them, and I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna plan it where we roll up. We're gonna roll up like
Yeah.
OG style. And
Yeah.
we'll either make them lock their doors or accept us, one or the other. But because I think
Yeah.
I owe them that, I owe myself that to
Yeah.
to be able to meet them.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Because it wasn't a choice we made to
so
be
Richard's
apart.
brother John lived in Evansville, and supposedly, this is third, fourth hand information from my mom, grandpas, and uncles on my mom's side. Was friends with one of my uncles and lived right down the road from me this whole time. And we would go there. And no, I guess my mom knew that he was there. I don't know if she did or not, maybe, but I don't see how she couldn't. But
Yeah.
I would never, if I've had an interaction with him, I never knew it, right? So, like, I had
Mhm.
zero interaction with that side of the family, the Whites side of the family, up until I was 36, 35, 36 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm 46 now. So, and it may even been a little longer than that because we've been out here for 10 years where we live now. And so yeah. So it's probably about right. 36, 37 years, 35, 36.
Yeah. Yeah, and we found out too that most of our family lived in Colorado, and that's where we grew up. So most of them were within a 20 to 30-minute drive,
Ain't that
if that
crazy?
long.
So you're growing up with your family that adopted you, know or not knowing. They knew, obviously, maybe, or maybe they didn't, that your other family was just right there, like a
Yeah,
stone's
I'm not
throw
sure whether they
away,
knew or
right?
not. Yeah.
Um,
Because, I mean, there was supposed to be, I think, no contact based
okay,
on the closed part of the adoption.
okay,
So it's not like they could ever contact and be like, hey, we moved to Arizona, send cards to this address or anything
right.
like that.
Do you know
So
if
they
like,
wouldn't have ever known.
do you know if any of them? And this is my problem,
Mm-hmm.
right? That I don't know if any of them on that side of the family ever actually tried to reach out to say, "Hey, I'd like to see my nephew. Hey, I'd like to see my, whatever. I'd like to see my grandson." It's almost like, they're gone. Whatever. We'll do. So, and like I said, if
Yeah.
it makes them mad, it's the truth. Like, I think we deserve some kind of answers, right?
Yeah.
Whether it hurts their feelings or not. I mean, and stuff they say may hurt our feelings, but
Yeah.
that's. I'll hurt your feelings before I lie to you. Let's
Mm-hmm.
let's do it.
Yeah.
Um, but I always wondered that, like, grow after I realized and found out, I was like, I wonder if they ever think about us or if they ever have tried to reach out to us, and because I'm
Yeah.
not that hard to find,
No, and
you know.
especially for you because it wasn't as hidden with you. You stayed with your biological mom,
Yes,
and it wasn't. And I don't think it would have been that hard for you from people that knew you.
right,
But I mean, when I reached out to Aunt Helena about you, she didn't even know about you. So to me, it sounds like there was only one person that possibly could have been looking for you or even shared information that you had existed.
Yeah.
And he didn't do that.
Hmm.
So I don't know. That's just, again, a question we have to ask and an answer I think we deserve. And,
Yeah, and
you know, I found out on my side too, on, you know, through people on my mom's side of the family, biological mom's side of the family. Word is they did search and they did look. But I mean, again, there's no telling. And I mean,
right.
I'm not going to like run to the courthouse and be like, let me see the application for my file.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I think there was, and I think we talked about this the other day. I think there was a letter that my mom, and I couldn't find, I know I have it because I think she gave it to me, that states that Richard, quote unquote, and if it's true or not, I don't know. This is just what I was told, you know.
yeah.
He was gonna, if he found me, he was gonna kidnap me and take me away, whatever, blah blah blah. You know, I guess we were basically in witness protection without witness protection, you know, like the redneck side, you know, kind of like stow up on the steps so you can get a double barrel in your nose or something. But
Yeah.
I don't think it ever happened. I don't think that like there was any real threat or real worry. Um, but my biggest issue is growing up, asking these questions, trying to find these people and not getting answers. It's like they almost didn't want us to, whether it was for our protection and safety,
Yeah.
or you know what it is. And I always often wonder how I would have turned out if they would have stayed in our lives, you know, or stayed in at least my life. And sometimes I'm like, you know, there. Look, I'm a firm believer. Everything happens for a reason,
Oh, yeah.
and
Me
there's
too.
an absolute reason
Me too.
that this happened the way it happened.
Oh, yeah.
So, good, bad, ugly, it is what it is. I mean, and I can't speak up for Richard, but I believe that you know he knows the mistakes he's made. He's paid his time for him. He's done his thing, and he's trying. But I have a dad, you know, and that's
Yeah.
what, whether it hurts his feelings or not, he's got to understand that I have a dad.
Yeah.
You know, he's my biological father,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a dad
Yeah.
that's
Me
not
too.
going to be replaced. He can't be replaced because I'm 45, 40, fixing to be 46, and you know that's a lot of years that you can't just show up and expect us to be okay with it. And he's told me, I understand that. You know,
Yeah.
I have,
Same.
you know, he messaged
Yeah.
and
I've
we
gotten
talked
the
about it.
same
I
response.
understand that, but and it's tough because I can't call him dad because he's not my dad. And when he came
Right.
to my house, as bad as I hated to say it, I didn't feel comfortable with him staying in my house because I don't know him.
Yeah.
Like,
You don't.
I think the last time I have zero memories of him.
Mm-hmm.
And I seen one picture when I was a kid. I was standing on a washer and he was in front of me and I had a bottle. And I think mom said that there was beer in that bottle or something. That could be why I like beer so much. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Thanks, man. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, and with you know,
Yeah, it's the same for us. I mean, I've cried multiple times. I mean, the dad and mom that I have are the ones that adopted me, and that's my mom and dad.
yeah,
I mean, we were in foster care. We were in, you know, we were with the state. We
yeah.
didn't have a
Yeah,
family.
your story's so much
We
more
didn't have a
dramatic
mom
than
and
mine.
dad. So they came and, you know, whether they couldn't have kids, whether they wanted to adopt, you know, is their business, is their privacy, but they came and they took us in and they didn't have to and they chose
Right.
to. And you know, my dad, they're absolutely my heroes for that. They're Josh and I, they're our heroes because we could have grown up in the foster system for 18 years, and then once you get to that 18 years, they kick you out.
Right.
They don't have any more room for you, and it's up to you to get that job. It's up to you to find that housing. It's up to you to make something of your life without family. And that's hard for a lot of those kids, and Josh and I are severely blessed that we didn't have to do that. So the mom and dad we have, that's my mom and that's my dad, and that's
And
how it is.
and I can tell how much you love them just by the
Mhm.
way you talk about them.
Yeah.
Like you know, we've been joking the whole time for y'all just to go up here and pack your stuff and come. And
Mhm.
your reason is you're not going to leave them, which is,
Yeah.
please know that I would love for you to be here. Or
Yeah.
I would love to be able to go, you know, whatever. But and if that's something in the future that happens, then it happens.
Yeah.
But I don't think for one second I really like want you to leave
Yeah.
your
No. No. No.
parents.
That's, yeah.
But
No.
yeah, I
I
mean, I
know.
could tell that they
Mhm.
had a big impact on your life. I mean, which is
Yeah.
awesome because who knows? I mean, I don't
Again.
know a
Yeah.
lot about the adoption foster system. I mean, I know some, but as far as being put in foster, I was very lucky that my mom had enough sense, or her family, or whoever it was. You know, I'm pretty sure mom was pretty stingy with us kids, and was like, no, I'm
Mhm.
keeping my kid. You know, um, that it happened the way it happened with me because you know I don't know. you know, like you
Yeah.
said, that foster care thing. Like, were they the first ones to? Did y'all get placed in other homes before, or do you know?
So,
Or
from what I know and what we've been told, Josh was placed in like a home for boys. Um, and I was placed in a foster home with like 10 other kids. And this family that had me, that was just their thing. They just fostered kids, loved them, adopted them, fostered them, loved them, adopted over and over and over again. Um, but from what I hear, it wasn't the biggest house for 10 kids.
right?
Um, but I believe, if I'm correct, they found Josh. It all happened through Arapahoe County. So they found Josh, I believe, and then these people looked at my parents and said, "Hey, he has a sister. Do you want her?" And they were like, "Absolutely." And from what I understand, it was pretty close to this foster family adopting me, and Josh and I would have been separated.
Oh wow.
So it was like a matter of time, and it happened like that. I mean, everything happens for a
Yeah,
reason, you know.
yeah. I'm
It happened
affirmed.
at that time so that Josh and I could be together,
That's
and
crazy.
very fortunate for that too, because there was definitely an option for us not to be,
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
then no telling what would have happened.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
would have been back square one probably. But
yeah,
so, Josh lives with you now.
yes, yeah.
And so you've got how many kids? You have three kids. How many kids you have? I know how many freaking kids you have,
Yeah,
but I
they're
mean,
here for
you have
driving me
three.
crazy. Yeah, three
And
kids.
you can say names or not. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
because everybody's going to watch this. But
yeah,
Josh has got a little boy, which I can't wait to meet Josh. And
yeah,
Josh just got out of the hospital before y'all came, was sick, so it was
yeah.
kind of
Very sick. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He's
Um,
very like we talked about earlier and mentioned that it not really sure where little Rick and Josh kind of stand with the whole thing and like
right.
mentality wise, and it's just you either understand it or you don't. It's a very honestly a complex thing to
It
understand and
is.
fathom. It's been extremely overwhelming for me
Yeah.
to find all these people and be like, oh, wow, there's other people as well that I'm related to, because I might not be blood to the family that I have in Colorado, but that is my family.
Yeah.
That is what I know as a definition of
Exactly.
family.
Yeah.
My aunts and uncles there, all the cousins I have in other states. Like we always went on vacations to go see
Mhm.
family. That was the word we
Well,
used, and that's what
you
they
know,
are.
and growing up, on Dad's side, the McDowell side of the family, like I spent so much time with my Aunt Debbie and Uncle Mark. You know,
Mhm.
they were everything to me. Like
Yeah.
still are.
Yeah.
But and my cousins Barbara and Amy and James Neal, like grew up with them.
Mhm.
And then my Uncle Mark, or I mean my Uncle Mike, I think you may have met Mandy. She was here last night at the Crawfish Cook. And then she had two brothers, Shane and Joey, and we all grew up. It was just like that thing you see on Facebook is like, oh, wish we grew up like we did. I mean, because it was so different.
Yeah.
Like my kids have cousins they don't even know.
Mhm.
Like obviously we do, but it's for a different aspect. They don't know their cousins because nobody gets together anymore, right?
Yeah.
Because you let one little thing, somebody gets mad at this other person, and then like, screw it, we ain't talking to you no more.
Yeah.
And back then it wasn't like that. It didn't seem like. Um, but to this day, like that's my family. That's my
Yeah.
aunt and uncle. That's my cousins, and
Yeah.
it's all because that's all I've ever known.
Yeah, and
Like
I don't know if Josh and I erased a lot of memories because of the trauma that we went through from having to leave our biological mom and being put in the system. I mean, it's
so,
traumatic.
do you want to tell that story on how that happened, or do you not? Because it's up to you.
I mean, just from what I've heard, it was, that the dad was in jail, and um she she just didn't feel comfortable raising us by herself. Um and she was told some things, and it scared her, and she wanted Josh and I to be safe, and so she chose to say, little Rick was, I guess he wanted to be with dad and his side of the family, and Richard and his side of the family, and that was his thing. That was his dad, that was his aunt, that was
Right.
his
So he had more
grandma.
of a relationship with him than
Yeah.
we ever did.
So to him that's dad,
Yeah.
from what I
I got you.
understand.
Okay.
So, and Josh and I weren't that way. We were more attached to our biological mom.
Right.
And so she just thought it was safer for us to not be with her. And that's the story that I've got from multiple people.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
and
it's neat. It sucks, but it's neat to get this information, and then it kind of starts building a story.
Yeah.
And it's pretty easy to like throw out some of the stuff that's like, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Whatever. Because I've heard tons of, like, I don't even know what to believe. Like, right.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
so it's really hard because it's almost like none of them want to be open with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm calling them out. I mean, I'm calling them out. Be honest with us.
Yeah.
What the hell? Like, seriously.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Tell me,
nothing,
like,
to be upset about, but
no, there's not.
we went
And
through a lot of trauma,
yeah,
and I don't know whether Josh and I both erased those memories, or whether that amount of mental trauma just caused us to not be able to keep and make memories. But we had no recollection of anybody or anything, so the family that raised us and the family we grew up in is all we know. That's all we have ever known. So for me to come to Josh and be like, I found these other people, this is our biological family, and I mean that at the time completely scientifically. These people we share blood with, we share
right.
DNA with. That's what they are to us. We don't know if they like us, we don't know if they're going to accept us, but I've found the people that we share this DNA with and where we've come from. And if you want me to open that door, I'm happy to do that with you. And he was kind of like, well, yeah, I guess so. But it's just
Right.
not something that makes sense to us. And so I told him, I said, okay, well, I'm going to open that door. I'm going to start reaching out to these people. And I'm definitely glad I did. And the majority of the aspects and the majority of the people I've met, there's
Right.
some doors that I've opened and I'm like,
Just leave it cracked.
maybe I should, like,
Just
you doing okay in there? Okay.
yeah,
You
just leave
know?
it cracked.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But for us, it's a very overwhelming thing to actually try to understand the concept and the idea that this is actually a thing and we
Yeah.
weren't just dropped on our parents' front yard and they said take care of these people for
yeah.
us.
And I'll tell you the truth. 'Cause I'm always the person that makes the first move. Right. I'm
Mhm.
always the person. My wife tell you, I'll let's go, let's go, let's go, let's do it, let's do it.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? After I found you, I was like, I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna see if they actually, if you make that effort,
Yeah.
because I'm used to them not doing it, like,
Mm.
unless they need something,
Yeah.
and we're not gonna get into that.
Yeah.
But and you were like, hey, we're coming. I'm like, yeah, we'll see. And we started talking, and we did in 35, 36 days, every single day, whether it was just, hey, what's up, whatever, hey, homie, that's like my signature.
Yeah.
But we communicated
Yeah.
for the
Every
last
day.
36, 37, 8 days, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And you're like, we're coming. And I'm just like, okay, because you never know.
Yeah.
And you shared your location, and you're like in McLeansboro, which is one of my favorite places in Illinois, because they have
Mhm.
this little place where
Yeah.
we go and eat all you can eat crab legs. Love that
Oh.
place. But anyway, it was just random. But so when it popped up, I was like, oh, they're in McLeansboro. And I was like, oh, damn. Like, they're almost here. Like, it's close. And then you called me, and y'all were like in Shawneetown. And I'm like, oh, God, they're like 25 minutes away, So it was just
Yeah.
really weird. And then you guys just pulled up, and you're sitting in the, I think you called, and you're like, hey, I think we're here, but I don't see anybody or whatever. And it was like, it wasn't even an introduction. It was just like, hey, about time you got here. It's like I've seen you like
Right.
2 or 3 times already,
Yeah.
or we see each other every summer or something. It
Yeah.
was just really weird. The connection is really cool. Because we're boring. Like, I mean, and I'm so worried about, are we entertaining you enough? Is there things you want to
Yeah,
do
no,
that we're
we're
not
chill.
doing?
We're chill.
And I expected the first time to be, just kind of just hang out, and then,
Yeah.
the next time we come up, or you guys come back down, then we're gonna we'll plan some of things to go and do.
Yeah.
But I mean, crawfish cook was big. I think we had like almost 70 people here yesterday. I think is
Wow,
what
yeah.
it was. So
Yeah.
that was a lot for you, probably for you guys
Yeah.
to. But
Yeah.
it's like that every year. I mean, anytime we have a get together, we've got at least 30 to 40 to 50, 60 people that
Yeah.
come, and we're just us.
Yeah, but everybody handles things differently, and I think growing up I handled things a lot more different than Josh. I don't know, I can't speak for him, and I've never really asked him. But I mean, for me, my parents did a really good job at, showing us how loved we were, and that even though we were adopted, it didn't matter to them. We were still
Yeah.
very loved, very accepted, very treasured.
Yeah.
But there's still a little there for me anyway. There was always just a little bit of depression hiding
No, I get
inside
it.
of me
Yeah.
from, feeling unwanted and feeling replaceable because the story we got from them and all that they knew was that the biological family kept little Ricky and didn't keep Josh and I. that's all. There were no details behind
See,
it.
I
There was
didn't
no
even
answer as to why.
I didn't even know that. I didn't
Yeah.
know. I thought all of us had been like shipped out the door, or
Yeah, no, they
just forgot about,
yeah.
or whatever.
So,
Because that's what I feel like. I feel like I was
mhm.
just forgot about.
Yeah.
I feel like I wasn't worth enough for that side of the family to want to try to find us, right?
Yeah.
That's and it pisses me off. Like
Mhm.
I'm not gonna lie, it
Yeah.
does, because I'm like, y'all, they don't understand what they've missed out on. Like, I'm pretty freaking cool. Like, I don't
Yeah.
care what anybody say,
Yeah.
but that's kind of what I feel, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, how, and I can't fathom it, to how people can just not want to know. Like, and I understand some situations you have to do that. You have to let go and move
Yeah.
on. But from everything that I found out, they didn't have to.
Yeah.
Really. You know what I mean? They
Well,
didn't
right.
have to.
Yeah. And so I lived my life growing up with a lot of I felt replaceable and I felt unwanted. And when I say replaceable, it's more like, well, they kept this kid and they sent Josh and I on our way, and they basically like replaced Josh and I and the love they had for us and loved this kid times three
Right.
because they didn't have to share it with Josh and I. And so feeling just unwanted and replaceable my entire childhood. And I mean, knowing that my parents I had were never, I mean, hoping, but knowing as well that they were never going to like send us back to the state. Like we
Right.
were there to stay.
Yeah.
And that helped a lot. And the love they gave us and the attention and the affection.
So
And
how old were you when you realized like you could actually comprehend that you guys were adopted? How old were you when you found that out?
I would probably say like 6 or 7.
Okay.
And
So
I,
you're
I,
old
I
enough to
started
start
having medical
understanding.
issues and they started learning about my thyroid. I have, hypothyroid, which has turned
Yeah.
into Hashimoto. And,
Same.
and they learned about that. And I asked them, well, which one of you has that? And their answer was, well, neither one of us do. And what? Like, but
Yeah.
I just, like, I kind of heard the doctor say it, like, it's genetic. And I grew up with seizures and I fortunately grew out of that. And that was genetic as well. And I'm like, well, which one of you did it? And they were both like, it wasn't us, and I kind of was, started questioning things and
Yeah.
along with the kids at school between the medical issues and that. And I did want to know where I got the seizures
Yeah.
from and where I got the thyroid issue from and, just all that. And again, they were, I praise them and I respect them. They were very open,
Yeah.
but also definitely very like, kind of sheltered, I
Guarded.
guess is the word,
Hmm.
like the guarded, yeah, is, how much information we're actually willing to give you because we're trying to keep you safe. And it's our job as your parents to keep you safe.
Right.
And with your situation, we have to keep you safe from these people, not the world.
Because of what they were told. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether any of that's true or not, I can't speculate on anything. All I can just, everything that I'm saying that I've heard is just that it is hearsay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody has proven anything to me yet,
Yeah.
right? Um, and your story is totally different than my story. I was lucky enough to stay with my biological mom, and
Mm-hmm.
she was fortunate enough to find a guy that was pretty awesome and raised us. And yours is just totally different. You didn't have that,
Yeah.
so it was almost like, for me, like, not worth it, I guess, to try to find everybody else. But there was
Mm-hmm.
always, and then as I got older, the internet came around and there was
Yeah.
more. You would hear things about like this more often, and then I'd spend money on these searches, and like some of them just took my money, and then I was just like, and I almost just gave up. And I seen Angela's
Yeah.
post, and like, if it wasn't for her,
I gave up at one point too. I actually made a Facebook post. It was like January of I think 2017 or something like that. Or 2018 maybe. I don't remember exactly. But I made a Facebook post and I had taken a selfie. And I found myself at work that night. I was an overnight receptionist at a memory care facility, and I found myself at work just like staring at this photo, wondering where I got my features from and like where I came from. And I like had a moment and I set my phone down and I was like, you know what? I don't care anymore. I just don't. Like, I have great parents. I have a great family. I
right,
have a supportive family. I can't find it. I've looked for this many years, and I was probably like 28 at the time, I think. I was like, I've looked for so long. I'm burnt out.
yeah,
I can't find it. I guess I don't need to. I don't know.
yeah,
And so I made a post on Facebook about, feeling like a mystery and that it sucked a little bit. And I actually had wrote a speech in high school. I was in public speaking as one of my classes, and the topic of the speech was supposed to be this I believe, and you were supposed to write something about like something that was like really deep for you. And I wrote that I believed, like it, the wording of it was, children take advantage and take for granted hearing the faces and seeing the voice, or hearing the voices and seeing the faces of their biological parents. And for me to write that in high school, like my teacher was like,
Uh-oh.
that is deep.
Yeah.
And it was a thing for me. Like all these
Right.
kids have no clue,
No, they don't.
and I'm definitely grateful for what I have, but they have no clue how lucky they are to not be put through that
Yeah.
system and to not have to deal with that. And I mean, not all parents are, all that in a bag of chips, and I get that.
Right.
Like some kids grow up in a really hard situation
Yeah.
with their biological parents, like I possibly could have.
Right.
We don't know how Josh and I would have been raised. It
Yeah.
might
No.
have been, heck and back. We don't know. It might have been awful. It might have been great, you know.
Yeah.
But that was actually like, so I've dwelled on it for a very long time in high school, writing speeches about it, and I did give up at one point
Yeah.
and gave up for a very long time. And then I got married, and um, I, my husband's mom was married to, my father-in-law, Doug, and he was adopted as well. And we like bonded
Had that
instantly
connection.
on like what it's like to be adopted and not be raised by your biological parents. And we bonded right away. And he kind of like opened that door again, and he was like, I'm here for you. I'm here to support you.
Yeah. That's cool.
If you find these people, I'll go with you, and Phil and your dad, and
Right.
I'll go with you. I know what it's like to not know where you came from. And unfortunately, he passed away from pretty severe cancer and didn't make it to see me do this. And
Yeah.
I'm sure he would have loved to be a part of it, and he would have been so happy for me. And but he really kind of opened that door back up and said, you know what, I know it's exhausting, but I think you should look, and you deserve those answers, and you deserve to know. Because I lived a lot of, even still, I have a little bit of like anger to let go,
Yeah.
to find out that little Rick was kept by that family, and
Right.
to find out that the offer was kind of put out there. And granted, none of them were able to, and it's not necessarily their responsibility to raise
Right.
other people's children because they don't want to, they're not responsible enough, they can't, whatever the reason. It's not necessarily somebody else's responsibility, but to find out that they had enough energy for one of them and not the other two, and
Right.
what we weren't good enough, what their answer is. I've gotten a couple answers, which I respect, but the other answers from the one that did raise him, I don't have that answer. I haven't spoken to her yet. Don't know why. And there's still definitely a little bit of anger
Yeah.
there as to
Absolutely.
why,
Yeah. I mean, even
you
even
know,
on my part, there's still anger just because I'm like, did y'all not like maybe they grew up with their family not being close knit. I think maybe that's
mm-hmm.
something we need to dig into, with
Yeah.
them, is why the structure of this family is the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
I've got several cousins that I found through this little trip that we've been on, and a couple of them are like, we're good where we're at,
Yeah.
and they were doing really really well and just phenomenal. I'm not going to mention their names because I
Mm-hmm.
haven't reached out, but
Yeah.
W and B, um, and W, he man, an amazing, both of them, both of them. I think they were in the military and they've served their country and they're just doing like amazingly well.
Yeah.
And they were adopted out, right? Or they weren't raised by their biological
Mm-hmm.
our family.
Yeah.
And it just kind of is like, is this something that they did? Is this just like a hobby for them, I guess, for lack of better
Yeah.
terms. And if it makes them mad, it makes them mad. Like,
Yeah.
what I tell everybody all the time is like, when I meet somebody for the first time and they're like, oh, I don't know if we like it. Listen, I've lived 45 years without you. I can do
Mm-hmm.
another 45.
Yeah.
It's your loss. Like, because, I mean, tickled to death that I found you, because I was
Mm-hmm.
like, man, just find just one person
Yeah.
that is willing to put in the effort, and none of us have our shit together, right? None of us do.
Yeah.
Like, that I seen that meme on Facebook where somebody asked me if I had my ducks in a row, and it like has a picture of like it's a bunch of
Yeah.
ducks, whatever, just doing just weird. Yeah, my life's chaotic
Yeah.
sometimes, but it was whether or not you're able to make and effort is maybe another thing, but there's no reason why I haven't went and met the others other than I choose not to right now
Mhm.
because I haven't been like they haven't proved anything to me.
Yeah.
Um, whether that's wrong, mean, hateful, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
not because I don't love them, because I do. I love them, and I want to know them. I want to get to know them, and I want
Yeah.
to meet them. And maybe it's stupid that I'm doing this because we don't know what tomorrow holds. You know, I could screw up and be like, screw it, I'm going to wait until they make the move, and then somebody passes away and it's too late. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm afraid of. So I think this year and next year is the year for me to get those answers,
Mhm.
set them down, look them in the face, tell me the truth.
Yeah.
You know, don't lie to me. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to change my life now. There's nothing you
Right.
can do to change my life. I would love for every one of us on that side of the family to be in contact, be a part of each other. Whether or not they're
Yeah.
capable of that, I don't know because like it seems like they've got some kind of grudge or anger
Yeah.
against each other. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
And I mean, we were raised family is like how important family is, and that's why we came. I
mhm.
mean, frankly, I've only known you for what, like we'll say 40 days,
And
because
not
it was
like
like
known,
not even
it's
known,
just kind
just
of like
over text,
we've
really.
talked and
Yeah.
texted, but it's not been deep stuff. Like,
Yeah.
and for the first
But
time, this is literally the deepest we've gone,
yeah,
and we're doing it here for everybody to kind
to
of see,
see
which
too.
is kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. But
Um,
we were raised how important family is, and for me to there's people that I've found and that I've reached out to that are like super thrilled, super
yeah,
excited. Oh my gosh, we didn't know where you were. I can hear the tears flowing through the
right.
text messages, and they're so happy I found them, and they're like, we want to be a part of your life, but we don't want to bombard you, but let us know if we can hug you and like hold you again. And
Right.
because, well, I mean, we were 3, so these people have been in our life for at least 3 years,
Hmm.
and when you're that young, that's a big time to be in your life. They're teaching you things. They're
Right. They're
taking
putting
care of
that
you because
impression.
you're. And so some of them are like super happy, super appreciative. This is great. And then there's people that are like, "Oh, hi. Yeah, great. You're still alive. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right."
Yeah.
And there's people that I know and haven't even reached out.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's their prerogative and that's what they want to do, that's I fully respect that.
Yeah.
But there's still a part of me that's agrees with you that I want those answers, and if I get those answers then we still decide not to have contact,
At
that's
least we
okay.
have them.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
But
Um, I feel like we haven't even scratched the surface. I
no.
just have this feeling that they're just gonna be like bloop, 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 like the
Mhm.
pop goes the weasel game,
I mean they are, and
because there's so
few
many
and
so
far.
many family members on Richard's side, and then we still have on Grandma's side, so Richard's mom's side that we
Mhm.
haven't even I don't even know any of them. Don't even know where
Yeah.
to begin to start finding them.
Yeah.
Right? That'd be
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say or do about it, but I do know I want some answers.
Yeah.
From all of them, I want to know they're those whys.
Yeah. And
Um,
whether they get along with these people that we're looking for or not, we don't know if we get along with them. And I think we
right.
still deserve to
Well,
know them and get to know them and find them. And
I've worked jobs in my career that people are like, "Oh, you can't associate with them and work here, or you can't talk to them." No, there ain't nobody gonna tell me who I can be friends with and who I can
right.
love and who I can't love. You know
Right.
what I mean? And so if you've got a problem with somebody that's in our family and you don't like them, doesn't mean I have to hate them.
Right.
Until I'm the type of person I believe in second chances 100%.
Mhm.
But I'm going to trust you. I'm going to put my faith in you until you prove me wrong. And then when you
Right.
prove me wrong, we're going to have a conversation about it,
Right.
and we're going to work on that. And if you do it again, then obviously you're not willing enough, or you don't respect me enough to,
Yeah. And I mean, not
not do
everybody's
that.
going to get along.
No,
And
no.
people get along for different reasons, interests, commonalities,
I feel like
you know,
I'd probably end up smacking little Rick in the back of the head a few times. Like,
possibly.
he just kind of he's that little brother annoying,
Yeah.
in a good way. In a good
Yeah.
way. Don't
Yeah.
take it
Yeah.
horrible or
No, that's
bad.
how I am with
But he
Josh
just
too.
kind of
There's
smack
times where
you,
I'm just like,
Yeah.
get with it, man.
Yeah, just put it
you
together.
know.
I don't know. What's
But
our next
it's the
step?
sibling thing.
Yeah. What's our next step?
I think just doing more research and I think we got a lot of travel ahead of us
I think we
together
do.
to
I think we got a
to
lot.
meet
We
these
got to find
people,
this
and
other junior.
we do.
We got to
That's our
find
I think
this
that's our
other
next step.
junior.
Yeah, so we know about you and we're looking
Yeah,
for you.
yeah, we know who you are,
Yeah.
but we don't know where you're at, but we know who you are. Yeah, I think so too. And you sent me all your ancestry stuff to log in. I haven't even logged into it. Like
Yeah.
it just freaked me out. Like,
Yeah.
and it was weird because I'm like, I don't know, but it did. It freaked me out. And I was like, I don't know if I want to open it up yet or not. So, but
I
I
mean,
think
it
I'm
was a
going to.
lot for me. And to like search through, because you start searching on one tree. Like I haven't even scratched the surface there because you
Hey, at
start on
least
one
our tree
tree.
doesn't go straight up. That's
Yeah.
that's way it
Yeah.
branches. It
Yeah.
branches way the
It
f
does.
out.
It
So
does. Yeah. But you can like click on somebody in a tree and it takes you to their tree. So you can go all the way back like 6 generations and click on great, 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 great. We'll say Grandpa Richard Lee White. I don't know.
well, I'm sure
You know?
probably wouldn't put it
You
past.
know? And you can click on him and it'll take you to his family tree. And I've actually found like third cousins, like twice removed,
Yeah.
6 times put back or something like
Right,
that through
right.
this
Yeah.
website and through
Yeah.
these family trees. And
That's crazy. I'm gonna have to break down, and just get in it and do it.
yeah,
I just
yeah,
and I feel like another cousin of ours kind of started that, Kristen. I feel like she started doing a little bit of that, and hopefully we can. I don't know, have you talked to her yet or not? I don't know if you've reached out to her yet or not.
no,
Maybe a little bit or something,
no,
but
yeah,
maybe we can get her kind of turned around and in on this, because I feel like she's got some information that she can, kind of we can benefit from. But
yeah,
I don't know, man. So yeah, we got a lot of travel ahead. We got a lot of research
yeah.
because I want to know the history, like
Mm-hmm.
what
And it'd be
good,
really
bad,
cool,
the
I think, to
ugly.
find out too for sure whether we, have any Native American and relate that far
Yeah,
back. That'd be
because I
really
need to
cool.
figure out because this
I'm like a
albino,
history
like
buff. Like
yeah,
I
I am
love
too. I
finding
love
that stuff
history.
out.
Yeah, I do too. That's
That'd be really cool.
like history is like one of my favorite things. I had a history
Mhm.
teacher named Mr. Grace who just a lot of people thought he was boring, but I was just captivated. I mean, I was a class clown, so I did jerk around and jack around in the class, but
Yeah.
I listened to him,
Yeah.
But history, World War II, love World War II.
Yeah.
Bigfoot, the whole Bigfoot theory, love it. So anything history, I love. So this just makes it even better finding our history and finding out if some of this stuff is true about. Oh yeah, you're kin to them.
Mhm.
On the Perkins side, we're related to Carl Perkins, who wrote Blue Suede
Oh
Shoes for
wow.
Elvis, and
Oh wow.
so it's just kind of, is that really
Yeah.
100% true? I've never had a definite answer, but every single person I've asked, oh yeah, we're this cousin, whatever it is. But yeah, so we're kin to them.
That's crazy.
And I hang on to that, and I throw that
Yeah.
out there every now and then because I'm proud of it, and that's what I want. I'm looking for something to be proud of on this side of the family. I'm
Yeah.
proud of you. I'm proud of
Thank
you.
you.
So
I'm proud of you too.
um,
For sure.
we got a lot of work to do.
We do.
A lot of
Yeah.
things to do. A lot of things, and this is just scratching the
Yeah.
surface. We
And I
can
mean
sit here
for
and
Josh
talk.
and I have a lot of work to do on my mom's side, whoever I
Yes.
find wherever.
Yeah.
But there's really that information is
So
like
it's
so
even
hidden and so tiny that I haven't even opened that
it's
door
even
yet, to be
deeper for
honest.
you.
Yeah. So Josh and I have some other searching to do over there, but
I think that's the first time I just sit here and thought about that. That's like, I have my mom, my biological mom.
mhm.
I have that information. I know that.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't know either one of them. So that's even, wow.
Yeah, so we have that whole side to find out about too, because that's a whole nother side, that's a whole nother line and everything.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah,
crazy.
we'll get there eventually, but
Yeah.
we
Well,
got a lot of work
I'm
to do
here.
here first.
I'm here to
And
help. So,
yeah,
well, we could do it together. Whether
yeah,
it means anything or not, we can do it together. I'll be
thanks.
there for you.
It's nice to have
Um,
that support because it is very overwhelming. It's
it is. It is. Even, years ago when I found Little Rick and Aunt Sandy and Velvet, and I was just like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
like I didn't know how to react. I'm not a super emotional guy, but
mhm,
like it jacked me up. Like I was
yeah,
just like kind of, I don't know,
yeah,
it was just weird, right? Because the only family I've ever known is the family that raised me, and I
mhm,
almost felt like I was betraying them. If that made
yeah.
any sense, like when I started searching
Oh
for this
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
um,
That's how I feel, and I call my
and
mom and
I'm
dad
telling you,
every day, and I
yeah,
tell them, like, I don't want you to think I'm
and
replacing
that's
you
what
because I'm
I
not.
feel
That's
like.
not what this is for me.
I hope that I've told my dad that. I feel like I have, and I think he knows.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be half the man I am without him. Like, I
Right.
just wouldn't. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, and if that hurts anybody else's feelings, it hurts their feelings. But because biological dad really didn't do anything, he wasn't there. How could he?
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah, I
Shame on
mean,
you.
right. I
But
mean, he couldn't be in my
right,
situation.
yeah,
It was closed. He couldn't.
yeah.
There was nothing he could do.
So we have a
There
lot of
was no.
answers. We have a lot
Yeah.
of questions, a lot of answers
But
to get to. But how cool is that?
but
Like,
yeah.
I honestly blow away that y'all drove 15 hours. Just like, let's do
Yeah.
it. I could tell you're a big planner because you're freaking out about making sure you had everything. And
Yeah.
but yeah, so
But
I
I mean,
appreciate
I
that.
really didn't think I was gonna meet anybody this year. I mean, I thought I found who we knew. I thought it was
Right,
just
that was
little
it.
Rick, and found out where he lived, and it wasn't like you said. It wasn't really there. It wasn't like, oh yeah. It was like, oh great, And so that wasn't like a in the future for sure, but that wasn't a trip I was planning this year at all. We tried to go on one trip a year as a family, and we're gonna go see, my husband's dad for Thanksgiving, and do that for him, and that was our trip of the year.
I
And
got you. So I just kind of
so
threw a wrench in that.
you did a little bit, but
Awesome.
we've had a great time, and
Yeah.
it's been so nice to connect, and everybody
Yeah.
is just welcoming with open
This
arms,
is
and
what you see is what you get with us, man.
yeah, but
That's how we are. So
it's not a trip I can say I'm ever gonna regret for sure. It was
Okay.
definitely worth the 14 hours for
Yeah.
sure.
That's awesome. I don't
For
know.
sure.
I don't
And
know.
it's not even over yet. You're
No,
still
we
stuck
still
with
got a
me
couple
for
more days. Yeah,
couple
or
more
at
days.
least one more day.
Yeah.
At least. I don't know if y'all gonna leave Monday or Tuesday morning.
Monday night, maybe.
Maybe not.
Maybe. We'll see how tired we are
Different.
after all our
Yeah.
adventures.
I mean, either way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't know. So
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Mhm.
It's kind of one of those things I never expected to happen, and it's almost like people didn't want it to happen. Is how I feel. And I'm probably
Kind of, yeah.
wrong because I'm weird like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I was supposed to give you this in the beginning. but
Oh.
we were talking. So this is just some stuff from
Oh,
one of my
thank you.
sponsors. So, yeah, that's from the Fat Boy app. Yeah, you need to really download the Fat Boy app. They're good people.
Do I? Okay, I
Yeah,
will.
they're like, I'll talk about it, kind of explain everything to you about how it works. Because when you
Mhm.
go back to Denver or Colorado, where are y'all from? Well, you don't have to say it. Don't say where you're exactly.
Denver.
Yeah, so the Denver area.
Yeah, yeah.
All the mom and pop restaurants,
Mhm.
you can go and get them signed up, and you can get a card. And every time you sign them up, you get things from the Fat Boy app, kind of perks. You get 60 cents every time you sign somebody up. And these little mom and pop restaurants get free recognition, free advertisement, and so
Nice.
and that's what they're doing. They're a one of a kind app. It's really cool. Some of my favorite people, man. They've done big stuff for me here on the
Oh,
podcast.
cool.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
With that being said, I mean we've just barely scratched the surface. And
Yeah.
we may have kind of went all over the place, but this is probably the favorite podcast I've done. If you would
Really?
even want to call it, yeah. I mean, it is. It's a big deal, a big, huge deal.
I mean, it's probably different for you too, because it's
It
more
is.
about you and your
Yeah,
life.
yeah, and
it's not.
I don't like to talk about myself that much.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'll mention things
should.
and throw things out, but and I've had people. You need to sit down and just kind of tell your story and
Mhm.
um.
But now your book is like
Yeah,
that much
it's
bigger.
like even bigger. So I've
Yeah.
got to kind of take, punt and start all over. But yeah, and I usually put disclaimers on some of the things, like I don't agree with, whatever. And I think I might put a big one on the very beginning. If this hurts your feelings, sorry.
Yeah.
Disclaimer: this may have information that hurts some of y'all's feelings, but you deserve it.
Yeah.
No, hopefully it don't hurt anybody's feelings.
No.
Hopefully, because we love everybody. I do.
Yeah.
I'm grateful and thankful for everybody that I've found and have been in contact with, good, bad, and ugly.
Right, and we both are out.
And we don't
We're both
know.
out for it with good
Yeah.
intention. We just want to know. We just
yeah,
want to
we
learn.
just want to be a part of their lives, whether it's just a daily text or we actually get together. However they want it, I'm okay with.
Yeah.
I'm not going to force myself on anybody.
Right.
So. How cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Some good stuff. So, all right. Well, as my buddy Frenchie would always say, y'all be good to each other.
Respect, no judgment. Open up, say what you wanna say. Be real, be kind. Free speech, make this a better day. You got a voice, a story to be